All right, then. It looks like we are ready to start our meeting. So welcome to everyone here in the council chambers. Tonight is our meeting for Monday, June 9th. And could we have a call to order, please? Roll call, I mean.
Councilmember Deneen. Here. Councilmember James.
Here.
Councilmember Biskins.
Here.
Mayor Marquez Simula.
Here, thank you. So welcome to everyone here in the council chambers and anyone watching this on the recording. We're so happy to have you be a part of our community meetings, a place where you can share your views and opinions, concerns, and maybe some joys for the city. We will start with our Pledge of Allegiance. So if you're able to, please stand and join me in saying the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, we have an approval of the agenda. We do have one item that we would like to remove from the agenda, which is item number 15. Any questions or comments from the council? All right, then I have a motion to approve the agenda then as presented, except for removing item 15.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Biskins and a second by Councilmember James. Any discussion? Hearing, seeing none then, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And the motion passes. Next, we have our proclamations for our council meeting. And this evening, we have our first proclamation, which is for Immigrant Heritage Month. And I will read through this proclamation, and the other ones will be read by Councilmember Deneen and Councilmember James. Immigrant Heritage Month for June 2025. Immigrant Heritage Month is a time to honor the invaluable contributions made by immigrants to our community, enriching our cultural fabric, strengthening our economy, and enhancing our social diversity. We should use Immigrant Heritage Month as an opportunity to advocate for fair and just immigration policies, ensuring that newcomers to our city are welcomed, supported, and provided with the resources necessary for their successful integration into our community. The City of Columbia Heights embraces the diversity of cultures, languages, and traditions that enrich our neighborhoods and foster mutual respect and understanding. The City of Columbia Heights recognizes the significance of welcoming and aiding immigrants, fostering an inclusive atmosphere that values diversity, and upholds the ideals of justice and equality. Immigrant Heritage Month provides an opportunity to promote cross-cultural understanding, bridge divides, and strengthen the bonds that unite our community, regardless of background or country of origin. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Amada Marcus Simula, Mayor of Columbia Heights, do hereby proclaim June 2025 to be Immigrant Heritage Month in the City of Columbia Heights, County of Anoka, State of Minnesota, USA. And to receive the proclamation is Luis Sacta from El Tequila Business in our community. But first, we're also going to do a photo with the council, if you don't mind going down.
Hello. Yeah. Well, thank you for this certificate. I just want to thank everybody, all the departments of the City of Columbia Heights, the fire department, the police department. They've all been so helpful to my business and myself. And I would say also to my family that live in the area. Unfortunately, had to move out just for family reasons. No, nothing negative about the City of Columbia Heights. I still love it. Still is my second home where I spend most of my days with my family. And I just want to thank you all for, like I said before, making me and my friends and my relatives and coworkers and everybody feel welcomed and like in our homes. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Luis. I love when people are able to bring their children into the council meeting. Yes, oh yes. Yes, because they're promised some helado, some ice cream after this. I don't. We're all invited? Okay, because we can get through this meeting quickly then. Thank you. Our next proclamation is for Pride, and reading this proclamation will be Councilmember Deneen.
Thank you. Proclamation for Pride Month, June 2025. The Stonewall riots from June 28th to July 3rd, 1969 marked the start of the fight for LGBTQIA+ equality in the U.S. In 2025, we celebrate the 56th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, when LGBTQIA+ communities stood against police harassment. Each June, people in Columbia Heights and worldwide honor those who fought for LGBTQIA+ rights. Minnesota passed the Human Rights Act in 1993, prohibiting discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender. Minnesota legalized same-sex marriage in 2013, and the U.S. Supreme Court upheld this right in 2015. The Safe and Supportive Schools Act of 2014 protects students of all sexual orientations and gender identities. In 2023, Minnesota banned conversion therapy and established itself as a safe place for LGBTQIA+ individuals. Minnesota became a trans refuge state in 2023, ensuring access to gender-affirming health care. We recognize and affirm that GLBTQIA+ people deserve respect, compassion, and a place to be their authentic selves. And we recommit to being a city where our LGBTQIA+ community members are safe and thriving.
Thank you. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Amada Marcus Simula, Mayor of Columbia Heights, do hereby proclaim June 2025 to be Pride Month in the city of Columbia Heights, County of Anoka, State of Minnesota, USA. And it is a big thing to celebrate here in Columbia Heights. We're so happy to have Columbia Heights Pride Festival here. And now we will step down for our photo with our recipient, Ray Muno, and his family.
Now is the mic tall enough? So on behalf of the LGBTQIA community and the Columbia Heights Pride Committee, I'd like to thank the city for this. Columbia Heights has been a very supportive community for the LGBTQ community. Our Pride Festival is September 13th, so we're not in the month of June. In Minnesota now, there's over 40 regional Pride festivals. So We got moved to October one year because of date conflict, and we've held it in September the last few years, and it's worked out really well because there's so many of them in June. So anyways, thank you very much.
Thank you. And just to take a moment to share other ways that our city has become more inclusive, we've really worked over the last 5 years to make our city ordinances and resolutions gender neutral, just because we've even had ordinances that said things like, when the busboy cleans up, whatever, or the instructions, and no one uses the term busboy anymore. Or it would say, like, when the contractor is done with his work, he can go apply for a permit. So we've taken out that those just very limiting gender pronouns, so that way it's more inclusive for everyone across our city. We also have ensured that at City Hall here we have a gender neutral bathroom that is open to anyone, so everyone can feel comfortable. But I just want to kind of share those things that we've really done to make sure that we are not just having a festival, not just, decorating and wearing rainbow colors certain times of the year, but that we really want to be inclusive to everyone here. So thank you for coming in. Our next proclamation is for Juneteenth, and this one will be read by our council member, Rachel James.
Thank you, Mayor. Juneteenth Freedom Day, June 19th, 2025. In August 1619, about 20 to 30 enslaved Africans arrived at Point Comfort, Virginia, marking the beginning of slavery in the present-day United States. On July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence affirmed the principle that all men are created equal. On January 1st, 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing millions of enslaved people, although enforcement was inconsistent. In Texas, slavery persisted due to the lack of Union troops, and enslavers viewed it as a refuge for slavery. On June 19, 1865, Union troops arrived in Galveston Bay, Texas, declaring all enslaved people in the state free, a day now known as Juneteenth. Juneteenth encourages reflection on our history, celebrates the contributions of African Americans while highlighting the need to address systemic racism and ensure equal protection and dignity for all. On February 3rd, 2023, Governor Tim Walz signed into law legislation establishing Juneteenth as an official state holiday held each year on June 19th. Juneteenth marks our country's second Independence Day, celebrating freedom and justice, and calls us to commit to equality, equity, and justice.
Now, therefore, I, Amada Marcus Simila, Mayor of Columbia Heights, do hereby proclaim Thursday, June 19th, 2025, as Juneteenth Freedom Day in the city of Columbia Heights, County of Anoka, State of Minnesota, USA. And to receive this proclamation is Nanesha Perry, who is a Valley View PTO member, and she's going to come up to receive the proclamation. Your family can come up too for the photo.
I am short. It's okay. I just wanted to say thank you to the city of Columbia Heights and thank you, Mayor Amata. Also, that Juneteenth is important for myself, my family, and my kids, and my community. And it's great to see that it's now become a bigger thing than what it has been. A lot of people in my community did not even know what Juneteenth meant to us. And now my children are now understanding, like, yo, this is when my people were like able to do things that for themselves, able to own businesses and build homes. Yeah, a lot of times it didn't go the way that we planned for it to happen, but we're trying to rebuild that history. I had some things written down.
Take your time, yeah.
Juneteenth is basically a time for us to celebrate and remember our ancestors and drink a lot of red drinks and eat a lot of red food and have fun and enjoy that community that we don't really see the rest of the 365 days a year. We come together, we show love, and eventually, sometime soon in Columbia Heights, we will have a celebration of our own. I'm definitely going to make sure I do that before I leave this city. So, with that being said, I want to say thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. Well, thank you so much for all of our community members who've come in to receive a proclamation, and those proclamations are for you, but of course they're kind of on behalf of all the communities that you're a part of. So I appreciate you taking the time to come in and kind of have that vulnerability of being here in the council chamber to also accept it. So, I mean, our community's immigrants, so important. You know, our police department, fire department, and city have done so much to learn more languages and be inclusive about hiring so that we can speak to more community members. As I said about our pronoun usage and different ways we're making sure people are, you know, appreciated and as their identity that they choose. And then also Juneteenth, really having education on that, how it's so important to our community and to all of us to learn these things. So thank you. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but we are going to go into the more business section. So if you'd like to get ice cream, this is the best time. And if you're going to stay for community, all right. All right, dilly bars. We don't have no ice cream rules like in the chamber, so I don't have a problem with that, right? All right, good night. Thank you so much. Our next part of our meeting is our community forum. The community forum is an opportunity to address the city council about items not scheduled for a public hearing. All speakers must provide their name and connection to Columbia Heights. You don't have to give us your address. In-person speakers should complete a form for the city clerk and introduce themselves at the podium. Virtual speakers also may attend. Is there anyone attending virtually tonight? There is. All right. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. Disrespectful language is not allowed, and the council may ask questions or refer items for follow-up, but typically the council does not take action during the forum. That being said, if you do have questions, we will definitely take note of them, and the city manager will go to staff to get the correct answers, and we will provide an update at the next meeting so the public knows what those answers were. But in the meanwhile, generally, we will have time to reach out to that person as well to give them a follow-up. That being said, Sarah, could you introduce our first speaker?
Teresa Carson would like to address the council.
Thank you. Thank you and welcome. And if you don't mind adjusting the microphone, otherwise it isn't recorded. Thank you.
Thanks for this opportunity. Teresa Carson, I live at Parkside Village Townhomes, which overlooks Sutherland Lake Park. So our concerns are the placement of the playground equipment. On your plats and pictures, it shows it moving right up next to our property fence. And, you know, where the playground is now, it's next to the pavilion where parents can keep an eye on their children. Moving it across the park next to our fence line brings, you know, unsupervised children and a lot of noise that we're not used to having. You know, we don't have any kids at Parkside Village, so That's not something that we're used to having around. And then the pickleball and basketball courts are very close to, this is going off the pictures that I've seen, are very close to our lot line there, within 50 feet of what we're looking at. And with the sport court there, can they be flipped so that pickleball and basketball, which make noise, can be moved further away, where the sport court is going to be a much quieter kind of a facility? And then the lift station placement, it's coming out from where it is now, and it looks like it's going up next to 51st, which, I don't know, I guess it's fine, but it kind of blocks the view. We paid premium prices for Parkside View, for a view of the lake, and that kind of wipes out some people's view of the park and the lake. And then, of course, we're concerned about the overflow parking coming from the new Medtronic development, because, there's not a whole lot of extra parking available in that area. So we fear 51st is going to become like an adjunct parking, running people through the park all the time. And then also the hours of operation of the park, they go until 11 o'clock at night. Does that mean there's going to be pickleball and basketball going on until 11 o'clock at night, which, those are noisy. The city of Maple Grove now is having a noise issue with pickleball courts. They're trying to get them moved. So those are some of our concerns. And the other thing is, the last time they did improvements to Sullivan Lake Park, we were all notified and were able to attend the meetings. And this time, there was nothing, we were never invited to have input. And some of that input that we had the last time, they actually listened to it. They thought we made sense and took it into their consideration. And that's not being done now. So, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in and sharing. It is a very big discussion, the Medtronic site and all those changes to the park as well. So we'll definitely have answers for you that we know are going to be, have a good breadth of answers at the next meeting. Did you want to share something now?
I would also offer staff would be happy to schedule a phone call or individual meeting with anyone on this topic or any other topic. So if you wanted to connect, we could get contact information for community development and city manager's office. I would add the park improvement planning is parallel but running through a separate commission. So park improvements would be taken up by the city's Parks and Recreation Commission, but in conjunction with the Medtronic redevelopment efforts. And so multiple opportunities to engage with a variety of commissions on this topic, including the city's planning commission. And there's going to be a lot of public hearings coming for both the park improvements, and then as Medtronic moves its way through city council, the city's economic development authority, and other hearings related to not just the rezoning that was heard at the last meeting, but each individual site plan for the Medtronic site will come through the same process. So thanks for coming tonight, but it'd be great to connect and have a more kind of open dialogue as we move through the process.
Thank you. And I will say also that we always are listening. So we will be listening, and I know sometimes, and I'm not speaking to a specific thing in any of your questions that you had, but there's a lot of times things seem that they are totally 100% decided, and it's just what we're showing at the time, and things flux as well. So just so you know that we are listening, and things will be a part of the discussion. So I really appreciate you coming in and sharing. Thank you. All right, is there anyone else who would like to speak this evening?
Yes, Jennifer Piper Manuel would like to address the council.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good evening. So I live up from 37th, where the redevelopment happened, redoing 37th. And one thing I've noticed since the redevelopment happened is there has not been any kind of bus stops put in. And I did connect with somebody at the Central Avenue redevelopment from Metro Transit, and she was going to try to connect me with somebody who could get me an answer on when we might get any kind of bus stops, even a bench. That went nowhere. And so I'm wondering if you guys know when we might get some of them had benches at them, and the other thing that's really missing is garbage cans. There used to also be a concrete garbage can on the other side of Heart Lake that you could slide the thing away. It was pretty stable and could put stuff in there. The ones that was next to the bus stop by Top Value, that was just a white open one and garbage could blow out of that. I don't really like those. But I'm just wondering, can the city put some garbage cans that have lids in anywhere around in that area? Because since Speedway went away, I'm dealing with a lot less of Speedway trash, which I don't miss that. But majority of my garbage that I do pick up comes from the liquor store. And I know I asked this maybe 3-4 years ago, do we have to sell tiny bottles of alcohol? Why are we selling tiny bottles of alcohol? Because they can't be recycled, they're too small, and I'm sick of picking them up. And either that or just jack the price so high up that at least we're making a nice profit so we can have a nice garbage can right by the liquor store at the bus stop, down by 37th and the nice rain garden. I'm always picking up people's bottles and stuff as they're waiting for the bus. They like to just toss it in the rain gardens. So those are just things, if we can get any updates on those, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll just make a plug since I'm here. The Columbia Heights Next Garden Tour takes place Friday, July 18th at 5 p.m., starting at the Blooming Sunshine Food Forest at the Lomiaki Park. It's a free garden tour. There are 8 residential gardens that will be open to the public, and we would love to have you come and check out all of the beautiful gardens that people have been working on in Columbia Heights for you guys to see. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jennifer. And I'll share Jennifer is this year's Community Outstanding Citizen of the Year. She just picks up, as she said, a lot of trash along 37th and Heart Lake, so thank you for all of that. But thank you for your questions as well. We can definitely have questions and also follow up with Metro Transit and see, where things are at with bus stops and trash cans, etc. So thank you for bringing this up. Anyone else to speak in the community forum? All right. And everyone, again, I'll just ask one more time if anyone here would like to speak on an item that isn't in the agenda. Seeing as not, then we will continue with our meeting and move to our consent agenda. These items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted as part of the consent agenda by one motion. Items removed from the consent agenda approval will be taken up as the next order of business. And so to the council, does anyone have any questions or items they'd like removed? Seeing, nothing removed. And so then I'll ask our city manager to take us through the items.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. 14 items this evening. The first being approval of the May 27th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes. Item 2 is the June 2nd, 2025 City Council work session meeting minutes. Item 3 is acceptance of the April 1st, 2025 Planning Commission meeting minutes. Item 4 is acceptance of the May 7th, 2025 Library Board meeting minutes. Item 5 is acceptance of the February 26th and April 23rd, 2025 Parks and Recreation Commission meeting minutes. And item 6 is acceptance of the May 5th, 2025 regular EDA meeting minutes. Item 7 is second reading of Ordinance 1714, which is amending the city's ordinance for the rental density cap. Item 8 is adopting Resolution 2025-47, which is appointing a Youth Commission member. This is Livy Power to the city's Planning Commission. Item 9 is Resolution 2025-48, which amends the city's fee schedule. These updates were discussed at the last work session. Fire permits and some community development related license permits, updates to that. Item 10 is Resolution 2025-51, which is authorization of an application to for the Safe Streets for All implementation grant. So The SS4A plan is about to be approved and reviewed by the City Council in June or July, but timing for implementation grants is end of June. So the city would like to put in a grant for Central Avenue improvements to try to cover the differential between funding from state of Minnesota, MnDOT, and the gap of what the city would have to contribute along with other partnering jurisdictions. So a little bit ahead of final acceptance, but still a condition of submitting a grant is that we do have the plan complete, and so they're coming very close in timing, but wanted to make sure that we had authorization to apply for that grant. Item 11 is Axon contract renewal, another item that was taken up by the council at the most recent work session. This is for the police department's taser equipment, which is provided by Axon, and then also body-worn cameras, dash cameras that go in the squad vehicles. We're in the 4 out of 5 year, we're in a 5-year contract, we're in the 4th year, but there's been several upgrades to this equipment, and so we've rebid at this time, and just a few highlights of what Axon has added recently to kind of their software offerings. Real-time translation, so the body-worn cameras can actually translate multiple languages real-time. There's the AI report writing feature that can take the video in multiple languages, create a base report that is then reviewed by department members, but it really is an efficiency in cutting report writing, one of the things that the police department spends a lot of time on. Auto transcription of the videos as well, license plate readers integrated into the dash cams, which have been very integral in several investigations over the last year since that technology, and then coupled with the flock cameras in the city. The latest in the taser upgrades, the less lethal tasers for the department, and then also the VR training that goes with that. So just some of the highlights of what's being added. There was a significant cost increase between the city's base contract and these new items being offered by Axon to help phase that into the city's budget. It's being proposed that we use the one-time public safety money that was granted to the city from the state, a total of $252,000 over the next 4 years to kind of soften that absorption into the city's budget. Item 12 is routine licenses for approval, business licenses, and item 13 are the routine rental occupancy licenses for approval. And then finally, item 14, review of the bills for this period, which in this case total $1,167,685.33. Madam Mayor?
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the council or comments? Councilmember James.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Manager. Yeah, I just wanted to speak on item number 11, the Axon contract renewal. This is an opportunity for us to use the state-granted public safety funds to really make a difference using all the latest technology in our city. Our officers, we need them to be responding to calls, not sitting behind a desk writing a report when AI can do a really good job. And then we looked through how do we make sure it's accurate, and they have a lot of blanks that have to be typed in, and you have to read things to make sure that that it's not just approving it. And so that's really wonderful. The translation software, it works so well. It has a speaker, so I could speak in English and the person speaking back could speak whatever language. It would translate it. It's not perfect. We'd still use real life human translators, but in a quick situation, it's going to get you a lot of the way there. And our officers are really excited about that opportunity with our diverse population and so many different languages that we may not even have a staff that speaks it. I'm very excited about all of the cameras because we need accountability and transparency. And this is a lot of money, but we all discussed it for a long time. And we know that this is a way for us to take the officers that we have now and make them even more effective and help them have a good opportunity to retain their job satisfaction. So they're getting things done and making a difference. So I'm hopeful, and I know that we'll keep looking at this contract and looking for ways to make sure we're making it correct. But for this 5 years, I'm really excited about that.
Thank you very much. Anything else? Councilmember Deneen.
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm really excited for a new youth commissioner, and I'm excited to welcome her to the City Planning Commission. Can you tell me how many youth commissioners, is this our only one at the moment?
Great question, Councilmember Deneen. Currently, yes, this would be the only youth commissioner seated. We're working on efforts later in the agenda, actually, to try to recruit more youth and align the terms that they serve with the school year more closely. So
Perfect. Well, I'm
But
super excited.
as
and-
always, if anyone has anyone that might be considered a good candidate, please reach out to the city.
Perfect.
Thank you. Yes, to like the youth commission, I'm so glad to have youth, and we're happy to invite youth to join all of our commissions and boards. So that's kind of the evolution, is that initially we had a youth commission that was only youth, but it was really hard because those students were very eager students, and sometimes 4 or 5 of them would be in band, and then they wouldn't attend the meeting because they had a concert, or they would be in theater, or they'd have a sport event. So it was just hard to get a lot of attendance at certain times of the year. And so thinking that maybe having 1 or 2 youth on each commission, so the library, planning, parks and rec, sustainability, would be a way to get youth voices kind of in all of our commissions and boards. So it's something, because we still want to make sure that youth have a voice and are heard. So this is kind of an evolution, step 2 of how can we do this in the best way. So glad that she's going to be here. And then I'll just echo everything Rachel said. As mayor, I work very closely with the police chief. And so we have been talking about this contract for a while and the offerings. And it seems like such a smart way to spend money, to spend those funds, and to help our community and our police. And then I'm really excited that we're moving forward with another step in our Safe Streets for All. This is something that the staff have worked on for quite a while, probably 2 years since the very beginning, maybe. Kevin, did you want to add anything at all?
Oops, wrong one.
Too many microphones.
Either work. Mayor, members of the council, yeah, this actually started about 4 years ago with the Pell study, and we've been working on the lead up, not even really designed, but the lead up to this point. And I think right now it's the money's available out there, so I think we have a very worthwhile project. I think it'll score high to make up the deficit, and that's significant. It's just that everything's coming together. Timing-wise, it would be better for us because about 3 months out, but when they're available, you've got to go after the money when it becomes available. So, this is for 2028 federal money, so I think the timing of this will work out really well.
Great. So I'm just going to repeat that 4 years ago is when this kind of started. As a council, Councilor Bisgins and I were around. Councilor Bisgins has been asking for more ways to have the safer city, and myself as well. And so it takes a while to get all this data and have consultants be a part of this. And so we're in the home stretch. It's very exciting. So I appreciate how well our staff and council work together. All right, well, if we have no more comments then on the consent agenda, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion by Councilmember Deneen and a second by Councilmember James to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none then, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you to the city manager. Next, we have our items for consideration under ordinances and resolutions. Number 16, the first reading of ordinance number 1715, an ordinance amending Chapter 8, Section 8.403 of the Columbia Heights City Code relating to fire services fees, authorizing the fire department to charge for fire watch services. And to take us through this item, we have our fire chief, Dan O'Brien.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, good evening. The ordinance amendment before you completely replaces the current code section that empowers the fire department to recover costs for its services. While configuring the new Tyler Enterprise permitting and licensing software, I researched this code section and realized that a comprehensive review was needed to be performed. In the review, I determined that a full rewrite was the best way to modernize the language of this section. So just some highlights of the amendment. Basically, first of all, it conforms to state law. Our cost recovery authority is aligned with current Minnesota state statutes. It's easier to use. This section has been reorganized so residents, businesses, and staff can quickly find what they need. And broader coverage. It expressly allows the fire department to bill for any service, emergency or non-emergency, performed within the scope of its duties. With that, I can stand for any questions the council may have for it.
Councilmember Biskins?
I just want to say thank you for all the work in updating this. I know there's a lot of things that both community development and different departments, fire department, are working really hard to update our codes and ordinances and language, and I really appreciate the time to bring us into the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you also just share with the community a bit, because I think on first reading it, it sounds like authorizing the fire department to charge for fire watch services. So if someone made a call, that it would look like now we're going to have to pay money to have. So if you could just share kind of what, in a more like
yes. So
colloquial-
when it comes to billing for like residential structure fires, so basically the current code, the present code already permits billing for that. For a house fire, but the language is vague because it relies on a cross-reference to state statute. Under the new ordinance, we'll adopt a formal policy that spells out when residential billing applies. Some kind of examples would be like a fire caused by, let's say like an illegal home-based auto repair shop that was, non-code compliance or against city code, something like that, or some sort of negligence causing extra loss, a blaze where the homeowner's failure to take basic precaution leads to a significant damage or destruction of the fire department equipment. We don't typically, like I say, there's always a little damage here and there. So for the bread and butter type fires, you want to call them that, we wouldn't typically be charging for that. So it'll be policy based. Basically, we'll ensure the policy that charges are imposed are only in cases of clear negligence and non-compliance with city code stuff.
All right, thank you. I think that clarifies things. Thank you. Councilmember James.
Thank you, Mayor. Fire Chief O'Brien, thank you for this work. What have you found in your research of other local cities are doing? How does this align? I know you had said it brings it into law with state law. What's the practice that you've seen in other communities?
Some cities actually do bill for structure fires in single-family homes. There's a clause in most insurance policies that will actually pay $500 to the fire department for a response to a fire. Like I say, a lot of cities will do that. It's kind of a mixed bag here in Anoka County too. So some do, some don't. So it's just kind of how it is. My concern wasn't so much for the emergency response; it was for all the other things that we do. We also didn't have anything in place. We're a licensed BLS ambulance service. We have nothing in place prior to this amendment to charge for the services for our ambulance. So just wanted to add, that's a piece that we added to this. So
Thank you. All right, I think it's interesting because we all think that these ordinances are just always current day written documents, but they really have to have staff go back and check on them and make sure that they make sense for today while you're still doing all the day-to-day work. So thank you for all the work you and your team have put into this. All right, well, if we don't have any more comments or questions then, could I have a motion to waive the reading?
Move to waive the reading of ordinance number 1715. There be an ample copies available to the public.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Biskins and a second by Councilmember Deneen to waive the reading. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes, and next we have a motion to set the second reading.
Move to set the second reading of ordinance number 1715 and amending Chapter 8, Section 8.403 of the Columbia Heights City Code relating to fire service fees for June 23rd, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Bizgins and a second by Councilmember Denine to set the second reading. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. The next reading will be on June 23rd. Item number 17, first reading of ordinance number 1717, an ordinance amending chapter 3.315 of the City Code relating to the Youth Commission. And City Manager Aaron Sherpick will take us through this.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. We've already discussed it a little bit, but a brief history on Youth Commission. So it was created in October of 2021. As the mayor had said originally, the Youth Commission was a standalone commission, and we've since made changes to bring further alignment to the city council's goals, as well as efforts to recruit and retain youth commissioners to kind of meet youth where they're at in their schedules. And that's where we've changed to appointing youth liaison to each of the individual commissions rather than having their own commission. So in an effort to further refine and try to promote membership at the last work session on June 2nd, it was discussed with the council some changes that would allow the city to mirror the period or term for that of the school year, so changing it to June 1st through May 31st. And then also kind of some policy changes were discussed to accept applications on a rolling basis and then appoint commissioners as qualified applications are received. So just being more flexible, take applications as they come, appoint, whenever possible, more or less, and then allow alignment with schedules from a staff perspective. And if you had a graduating, or not graduating, but a student going into their summer, and they have more free time now, can join June 1st and carry through the next school year. So pretty basic as far as the ordinance language changes go, just the date changes and then some refinement around policy. I'd be happy to answer any questions the council might have.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. I know we kind of, like you said, talked about this during the consent agenda, but all right. Seeing no questions, then I have a motion then to waive the reading.
Motion to waive the reading of ordinance 1717, there being ample copies available to the public.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Denine and a second by Councilmember James to waive the reading. Any questions? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. And next we have a motion to set the second reading.
Move to set the second reading of ordinance 1717, an ordinance amending chapter 3.315 of the City Code relating to the Youth Commission of the City of Columbia Heights for June 23rd, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Denine and a second by Councilmember James to set the second reading. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Thank you. Next, we have item number 18, consideration of resolution 2025-049, authorizing the Green Corps host site agreement. And taking us through this item is our Community Development Director, Mitch Forney.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, before you is an item that was talked about at the March 3rd City Council work session in the where staff brought forward the idea of applying to be a host site for a Green Corps member. The Minnesota Green Corps is an AmeriCorps program dedicated to protecting Minnesota's environment while training the next generation of environmental professionals. One of those environmental professionals is our own city planner, Andrew Boucher. So definitely an idea that he brought on, definitely something we're excited for. So in applying for this, city staff conducted interviews with the Minnesota Green Corps team, and ultimately the city was approved as a host site in May. So we have received notice that we will be receiving a Green Corps member in the future, and the resolution in front of you is just approving the receipt of that Green Corps member, and then also the agreement that we have with the Green Corps moving forward. The only items that the city is responsible for is, of course, supervising that Green Corps member, helping them with some educational items and some learning items, and then also giving them direction in the projects that they'll be doing going forward. All the items related to the Green Corps member are already in community development's budget, so there's no budget items with that, just a little more staff time. That member will be taking over kind of as our intern is now out of the community development department. The last item is, I do have to, caveat that there are some funding uncertainties at this point in time. As a AmeriCorps program, that does have some federal funding, and then also some state funding uncertainties with the state budget still unpassed as of yet. So we are not 100% sure that we will be receiving the Green Corps member, but we will know more once the state establishes their budget, hopefully in the upcoming special session. With that, I can stand for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mitch? No? Any comments? Councilmember Biskins.
Again, very excited that we're moving forward with the Green Corps, and I look forward to thinking positively that the funding will be there, and we'll see what the Sustainability Commission has for ideas for them. I'm sure there's going to be lots of discussion about what the priorities will be for this person. I'm glad we have them for 11 months too, so thank you. Thank you for applying, and thanks to the Sustainability Commission.
All right. Any other comments from the council? All right. Thank you. We're so excited. Andrew spoke so highly of his time as a Green Corps member. And I just feel like taking this is like the next step for our city, and things we've asked for, like a climate action plan and bringing forth the Sustainability Commission. Like, these are all things that are going to help us have a larger vision of where our community stands as far as being a sustainably developed city. So I think this is one great part in our visioning here. So thank you. All right, if we have no other comments, then could I have a motion to waive the reading?
Move to waive the reading of Resolution 2025-049, there being ample copies available to the public.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember James and a second by Councilmember Biskins to waive the reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. And next we have a motion to approve the resolution.
Move to approve Resolution 2025-049, a resolution authorizing execution of a host site agreement with the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency for participation in the Minnesota Green Corps program.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember James and a second by Councilmember Biskins. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Next, we have item 19, consideration of resolution 2025-50, Excel Energy Partners and Energy Action Plan adoption. And taking us through this is also our Community Development Director, Mitch Forney.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, just a second here as I get the slideshow pulled up. All right. Madam Mayor, members of the council, this is another great item to kind of come forward as we had talked about at our previous work session. City Planner Andrew Boucher and the Partners in Energy team has been working very diligently to research and develop the energy action plan that's for you for approval tonight. With us this evening are members of the Sustainability Commission, then also our energy action team, Partners in Energy. I will, rather than diving into it, I'll let them come up and kind of talk through the presentation. And then after that, I can kind of talk about how we're going to move this product forward and work with the Partners in Energy team to, build these items into our work plans and our items moving forward with the Green Corps member and then also the community development team. So before we get into that, I'll ask them to come up and run the presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Madam Mayor, members of the council, my name is Ana de la Torre. I am one of the Partners in Energy facilitators working with Columbia Heights. So just to give you a little background about what Partners in Energy is, it is a 2-year collaboration with Excel Energy, and we help to develop and implement communities' individual energy plan goals. So it's broken up into 3 parts. The first 4 to 6 months is developing the plan, which we have gone through. We had 5 workshops where we worked with Energy Action team members to help develop this plan. Then the next phase would be implementation, which is about 18 to 20 months, where we help actually implement the plan. And then after that, we continue to help communities working with their energy action goals. So just to give you a little picture of the energy action team here, we had members of the council, members of the Sustainability Commission, we had residents, we had teachers, a pastor. So very good representation of Columbia Heights. So this is another snippet of what our timeline with Columbia Heights looked like. So we started recruiting in summer of 2024. Then we went into the planning phase, which again was 5 workshops. Then we got to writing the plan, and now we're hoping to move into implementation. So to create the plan, we break up the process into several steps to develop like the priorities of the city. This is the executive summary of the action plan, the energy action plan. So the plan itself is about 60 plus pages, going into a lot of details. The executive summary kind of gives that snapshot of what's in the plan and the priorities. So again, throughout the 5 workshops that we held, we had a lot of different activities to get the group talking and figuring out what are the priorities for Columbia Heights. So we created a vision statement. We identified focus areas, and we created a community-wide goal. After that, we started creating strategies that talk about how exactly we are going to get to reach our goal. So those were just some examples. And then once we move into implementation, Partners in Energy continues to support the city with marketing, data tracking and measurement, project management, program expertise. We offer a lot of resources. We have quarterly events. We offer online toolkits for communities to learn about potential projects they can do. We offer monthly webinars. We have a newsletter, and of course, we have a website. These are just some examples of previous marketing tools that we have created for other communities. And then finally, this is a snippet of the work plan that we have at Columbia Heights, and it shows who would be the primary, role taker, and then who would be the support, and then the time frame of the projects. And now I want to open it up for any questions or discussion.
Thank you for the presentation. Yes, folks, in the packet, it is like 60-some pages of information, very detailed, but this is a really great summary to give us an idea of what it is. But yes, I don't have any specific questions. Councilmember Biskins.
I just wanted to thank you and your organization, Excel, for bringing this to our city, and Andrew Boucher for bringing it and helping to work on it, and all the community members that participated in the groups to get us where we're at today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And show of hands, who worked on this in the audience here? Thank you. Yes. It's been a big lift, and I know staff has done a great job of like reaching out to the community members. And anytime someone's kind of been at a meeting and talked about anything with energy, they're like, hey, by the way, we're starting this up. Would you be interested in some monthly meetings? But how long have you all been meeting again? Has it been a year?
Just about, yeah.
Just about a year,
The first
so-
workshop was in August.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so very dedicated community members, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the council? Councilmember Deneen?
I will just say that I had the pleasure of working on this with Councilmember Biskins and so many community members, and I went in there kind of green. I didn't know a lot about sustainability. I knew like the basics, and it was such a learning experience. All these discussions were so in depth. They were so thoughtful. They were so tailored to our community, and I want to thank you guys for your leadership and your help to get us to this point. And I'm really excited to keep partnering with you, and then have Mitch and his team kind of come in and really get these things going. It's really exciting for our community to know what cost-saving measures there are, what things we can do within our community to just get us to that next step in being a green, sustainable city. So I'm super excited. So thanks for being here.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. And also I'll just call out Emily, a new staff member, came in and just went right into it. And yeah, she was like, what do you need? I'm here for this. Let's move this forward with our community. Councilmember James.
Thank you so much. I appreciate our two council members that were on this, and as well as all the workers. I just wanted to highlight that I really appreciate that the 4 focus areas really do fit Columbia Heights, specifically energy efficiency, renewable energy, but also beneficial electrification and reducing the energy burden for our low-income residents. We have a lot of multicultural community, and that was a big part of this, is how are we going to reach out to all of our neighbors, and how are we going to help us pay less money and also help our environment at the same time. So I know as a homeowner here, I want to pay less money and I want to help our environment at the same time. So I really appreciate that focus on cost savings as well as helping our environmental goals.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
members of the council, just to kind of finish off here with the discussion and just kind of what does this look like going forward. Thank you very much for speaking. The Partners in Energy team wanted to hit the ground running. We actually met with them last week, and they've already provided us resources, marketing resources, and items to have at our Art and Info Fair. So they've already started the marketing of all the programs and everything like that. So we'll continue to meet with them in identifying the path forward for this program, along with some of the other goals that the City Council and the Sustainability Commission has had, and then looking at, as we kind of hire a new planner, and then also the member of the engineering department that'll be helping with the Sustainability Commission, and the Green Corps member will be looking at an official kickoff, hopefully sometime this fall, to actually do a larger event with the Sustainability Commission and maybe some other community members to really kick off this plan moving forward. So this is definitely another strategic item in our toolbox as we look at sustainability as a city. We have, the city council did their goal setting, put sustainability as a broader goal, but then also the Sustainability Commission has established its goals, and then we have our Green Step goals, and then now our Partner in Energy goals. And so the next step is kind of bringing this in with our other goals, really establishing a work plan, and then also kind of what items can we build momentum with, what items kind of solve the goals or complete the goals from the multiple strategies moving forward. So before you this evening is approving the Energy Action Plan and then also the MOU. We do enter in an agreement with the Energy Action team, and that is just talking about how they will support us and how we will support them in achieving the goals of the city. One thing to note is the motion at the bottom of the packet did not get the new resolution title in place. So it just says adopting the City Energy Action Plan, when the actual resolution name is approving the form and substance as well. So I'd just request, staff would request that resolution change, make it into the second motion.
Could you repeat what it needs to?
So page 193 in the council packet has the correct resolution name for the second motion.
Just not in the agenda?
Yep, just not in the agenda.
Okay. Thank you to
down one more.
Sarah for scrolling through our screen.
Yep.
All right, then. Well, thank you for bringing a summary to that. Thank you so much for the presentation again and for being here this evening. Then may I have a motion to waive the reading?
Move to waive the reading of draft resolution number 2025-050, there being ample copies available to the public.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember James and a second by Councilmember Deneen to waive the reading. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. And next, may I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve draft resolution number 2025-050, being a resolution to adopt the city's energy action plan and to approve the form and substance of the Partners in Energy Memorandum of Understanding and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember James and a second by Councilmember Deneen to approve the draft resolution. Any discussion? Hearing none then, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Yeah. Thank you. Nice work. Yep. Item number 20, consideration of Lincoln Avenue Communities 853rd preliminary bond resolution. And taking us through this item again is Mitch Forney, the Community Development Director.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, this project has been before you many times and will continue to be over the next couple of months. As of right now, the project at 853rd has gotten through the PUD preliminary plat and vacation easement process at the City Planning Commission level. That was passed on the first Tuesday of this month. The project is currently awaiting an EAW public review process. So as part of the project, it's required to submit an environmental assessment worksheet. That is now open to the public as of, we are currently accepting comments, but it officially gets posted and open to the public tomorrow for that 30-day comment period from a bunch of different agencies within the state of Minnesota, different community members and everything, and the public and all sorts of other. So after that 30-day period, then the PUD preliminary plat and those other items will come to the council for that item to move forward, and then we'll continue to kind of jump into that project. But in front of you today is a request for the city to be the conduit for tax exempt bonds for the first two phases of the project. Just a quick reminder, the first two phases of the project are the two L-shaped affordable housing buildings right in the center of the project. Tax exempt bonds cannot be applied for market rate housing. So that is why there's not an application forward for the townhomes or for the market rate mixed use development at the north side of the project. So this is just for the two L-shaped buildings. The Lincoln Avenue Communities has requested that the city help finance this proposed project. The city acts as the conduit for these bonds, even though the bonds are issued and run through the Minnesota Management and Budget. We act as the conduit, as the pass-through for these bonds. They're requesting a principal amount not to exceed $30 million for each phase. And ultimately, there's no obligation to the city of Columbia Heights. We do not have to pay these bonds back. There's no obligation to our taxpayers. The obligation rests solely on the developer, and that is off of the rent collected from the completion of the project moving forward. The city also receives a 1% issuance fee, so we actually make a little bit of money off of acting as the conduit for these bonds. This step this evening is just the preliminary resolution approving the issuance of the bonds. The application requesting, the city will have to apply to MMB for the bonds after the preliminary resolution, but ultimately the final approval of the bond issuance doesn't take effect or doesn't take place until a subsequent council meeting. So we're approving the preliminary resolution. Community development staff, our attorneys will work with the developer to apply it to MMB. The developer does have to put down a fairly large down payment for these bonds, so that's why they try to get some of the approvals done prior to this resolution coming before the council. And then later down the line, the city council will get the final approval of that bond application moving forward. So with that, I can stand for any questions. We also have the developer here to answer any questions from the council as well.
All right, thank you. Any comments from the council? No? All right. No comments then. And I think you did a great job of explaining it about where the city's at with the responsibility of it and not taking on that, and how it's a pass-through and that we actually earn 1% for that transaction. So thank you very much. Oh, okay. Councilmember James.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I
No,
forgot
that's
what I
all
was going to say. The details of all of the Planning Commission review process last week. I really appreciated the planning commissioners and their work through that, and the developer for submitting their traffic study and the environmental study so that the public can read those items. And we are looking carefully as a council at each step along the way. This step is just the bond resolutions, and we went through this impact on our city, and as our community development director described, this is something that isn't going to be a financial obligation of our city. And this developer has been passed through our planning commission. And I know that every part of the site, as our city manager said before, will have to go through the same process. So there's a lot of work to be done. As the mayor said, it's not a done deal. I know some people have asked me, is this all done? We're working on it bit by bit, but this aspect to apply for these grants is a wonderful opportunity for us to bring some much needed affordable housing into our city. So. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, then. Since there's no other comments, I have a motion to waive the reading.
Move to waive the reading of Resolution 2025-052 and Resolutions 2025-053. There being ample copies available to the public.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Bizgins and a second by Councilmember James to waive the reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Next, we have a motion then to adopt.
Move to adopt Resolution 2025-052, a resolution granting preliminary authorization to the issuance of revenue bonds or other obligations under Minnesota statutes, Chapter 462C, as amended to finance the costs of a multifamily housing development, Phase 1, approving the preparation and submission of a housing program with respect thereto, approving the submission of applications for bonding authority, establishing compliance with certain reimbursement regulations under the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, and taking certain other actions.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Bizgins and a second by Councilmember James to adopt the resolution. Any discussion? Seeing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. And next, we have a motion then to adopt.
Move to adopt Resolution 2025-053, a resolution granting preliminary authorization to the issuance of revenue bonds or other obligations under Minnesota statutes, Chapter 462C, as amended to finance the costs of a multifamily housing development, Phase 2, approving the preparation and submission of a housing program with respect thereto, approving the submission of applications for bonding authority, establishing compliance with certain reimbursement regulations under the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, and taking certain other actions.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Bizgins and a second by Councilmember James to adopt the resolution. Any discussion or comment? Seeing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Thank you. All right, moving on, then item number 21 is under our bid considerations, accepting bids and awarding a contract for the 2025 Sullivan Lake Fitness Court Construction City Project 2506-B, and our city engineer, Kevin Hansen, will take us through this.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. As you know, this project was originally bid with our alley program, and we inadvertently omitted some language for bidding requirements out of that. So we did have to pull it out of the alley project and rebid it so that those requirements for the funding were included within that, primarily focusing on Davis-Bacon for that. So we advertised and received 2 bids on this, and I will note that there's about $600 separating the 2 bids that we got. So there was actually no change from the original bid when it was bid with the alleys. The extent of the work was really the site preparation, the concrete slab with a new fitness court will be placed by others on that, and then also access walks so that folks can get to the new fitness court. This has a completion date of the end of July. Right after that, the folks from the fitness court, the National Fitness Institute, NFI, will come in and install the fitness equipment. We currently have that in our garage at Public Works. And then we'll do a grand opening in September after their work is complete. And that work also includes the artwork that the city has previously seen. So, Mayor, members of the council, we recommend approval to Equity Builders, who's actually the same contractor as our alley. Mayor?
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All right, then I have a motion then to accept the bid.
Move to accept the bids and award the 2025 Sullivan Lake Fitness Court Concrete Slab City Project 2506-B to Equity Builders and Construction of Rosemount, Minnesota, based on their low qualified and responsible bid in the amount of $86,180, with funding from Fund 412.6400, and furthermore to authorize the mayor and city manager to enter into the contract for the same.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Deneen and a second by Councilmember Bizgins to accept the bids. Any discussion or comments? Seeing none then, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Thank you. I do have a question, comment, but it wasn't going to affect my vote, so there wasn't a reason to ask it in that moment. But is there a place on the website where people can look up kind of the plan for Sullivan Lake and the sport court and that kind of stuff? Is there anywhere that someone could, if they hadn't been in the
Members
parking
of
lot?
council, I'm not sure if it is up. We have a preliminary master plan, but as the resident had indicated, that we still have more work to do in terms of public involvement with that before we go ahead with other work there. So the other work is not planned for until at least 2026, and we'd have time to do the public involvement. The work that we did was really focusing on the fitness court and focusing on the timing of that. So the other work shows how items can be laid out, which you've heard tonight. And in speaking with the city manager, we probably need to do a little bit more work refining that. So it has to do more with that than anything else. So to answer your question, yes.
Okay. To answer my question, there is not a place to find it.
Excuse me. I don't think that there is.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Yet. Yeah.
And then just to clarify that tonight, we just voted on accepting the bid to do this work. And that's a whole different thing than saying exactly where things are going. That's what I'm hearing from you, is that correct? This is just,
So this is only the fitness court.
yep, just the fitness court. But do we have a location for the fitness court?
We do.
Okay,
So the fitness court, and for a variety of reasons that we looked at, police advised us on, and then, thank you. And then also the Park and Rec Commission had looked at, was on the south side, just for visibility with that new fitness court.
all right. And that is not available on a website to see that yet?
If it's not, we'll get it up.
Okay, and then also we can, because we have a mural done by a local artist, and so if we can have that included as well, I think that'd be great for the community to know what's coming along. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that, but I'm very excited to award the bid, though, and move forward. So my question didn't have anything to do with that part. All right, thank you. That takes us through the items for consideration. We have no new business or reports, but that takes us to our City Council administration reports, or administrative reports. And our first council member to share for this evening will be Councilmember James.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I would like to congratulate Mayor Amada Marcus Simila for winning the Bush Fellowship Award. And it listed Mayor Connector Cultural Resilience Builder. And I really think that is so wonderful. You have been an inspiration to so many in our city. So congratulations on the prestigious Bush Fellowship. I don't know if you guys heard, that's a pretty big deal. Also, congratulations to Columbia Heights resident Muhyiddin Warfa, who is an advocate for language equity in schools and works in Minneapolis Public Schools, but lives here in Columbia Heights. And also congratulations to Arif Bakar, who is a Blaine resident, but his work as an educator and community builder happens here in Columbia Heights at the school. So we have connection to 3 Bush Fellows in our city. It's really fantastic. Also, my heart goes out to the family of Manny Collins. There isn't any information that I have to offer, but I do invite you to look at the press conference and the press releases that have been posted by the City of Columbia Heights Police Department and the Neoka County Sheriff's Office. All of us on council have been kept in the loop, and we are wishing good things. I am praying for the return and just worried about that family and praying for them today. The other items on my report, on May 29th, I was able to visit our new Wings Financial Credit Union that is relocated here in Columbia Heights, right in this very building, for their grand opening celebration and ribbon cutting. It's wonderful to see businesses investing here in Columbia Heights. On May 30th, I was able to speak at the civics class at Columbia Heights High School. I know others have as well. We had an invasive species removal committee project, and it was so much fun to pull all sorts of garlic mustard and thistles and other Virginia creeper from around our cities. The ponds that are above the Silver Lake boat launch. And if you haven't heard about those ponds, they're just a fantastic way to keep pollutants from going into Silver Lake. And they're very high tech, and they're high tech in a really cool way, but they have a lot of plantings. And so we worked with our city forester as well as some members of the invasive species committee of the sustainability, and we had a great time. I also visited the Columbia Heights powwow at the Columbia Heights High School. The highlight for the community to know is that this is our 11th annual powwow and the 11th straight year that Columbia Heights Native American community has had a 100% graduation rate. So it's pretty fantastic to see. And then this year, to mark the occasion, they received an Eagle staff from elders from one of the reservations. So it was very special. The mayor and I had a meeting with the school resource officer team to work on next year's contract. Met with the city manager for our EDA work last week. We did a facade improvement grant for a new business coming into Columbia Heights, right across from Sarna's. There's a new business, and so we're working with that. And then we had a discussion on how are we going to help our naturally occurring affordable housing in Columbia Heights, especially the multi-units, because we all know things are expensive. So we're looking at developing a program to do some loans or assistance for people who have 2 units or more to fix up the buildings to make sure that they can keep those affordable housing in Columbia Heights. And then we had a work session, and one thing I just wanted to share with the community is our water meter replacement project is going good, and part of that was checking on how are we doing on lead pipes in our city. And we got back that I think we're at 98% of all the water meters in residences have been replaced. So we're getting close. And of that, so far, only one of them was identified as having lead. So that's really good. But 60 have galvanized steel, which might be not perfect for your health. And so they're working on those. But that was a really great report to hear. And I'm sure once we complete the project and we have the final numbers, that will be public. But we're ongoing. That's a preview. On June 5th, I attended a meeting with the Metropolitan Council about what's happening with the wastewater rates. How basically why is it so expensive? And it's a region-wide problem. They're doing infrastructure updates. They are working with their staff, and they're planning out how to keep our water in our area healthy for years to come. It was very detailed, and if you're interested in knowing, they are publishing all of that on the Metropolitan Council website in detail of what are their plans for keeping the different regional wastewater safe and how are they working with that. On June 6th, I attended the Columbia Heights Business Council with leaders here in our area, and we listened to a representative from the Minnesota Multifamily Housing Association. Also, I visited some garage sales, so thank you to those who hosted the garage sales this weekend. And then upcoming, it was mentioned today in our proclamations, Juneteenth is coming up, and Columbia Heights does not have a celebration, but Silverwood Park, which is bordering Columbia Heights, has their annual Juneteenth celebration. They're actually doing it on the 18th, Wednesday night, and it's from 5 to 8 p.m., so if you can't make it there the whole time, at 6:30, the band Brass Solidarity is playing, and it's right next door. It's a fantastic, I've been able to go for the last several years to Silverwood Park's Juneteenth, and you are all invited. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yay, we're so excited for you.
Oh, thank you. I guess thank you for the celebratory words. Thank you. And Councilmember Biskins, if you'd like to give your report.
Hello. Hello, everybody. First off, congratulations to the mayor for winning the Bush Foundation.
Bush Fellowship from the Bush Foundation.
Fellowship
Yep.
Award. Thank you. That's very cool. And second, also extend my sympathies or just care about what's happening with Manny's family and the search for him. I hope they are able to find him alive. And the third, just to piggyback off of Rachel's discussion that we had in the work session about the NOAA, I'm very excited that we're moving forward with that because I know we have 149 apartment buildings in Columbia Heights, small ones, a lot of ones that were built in the 60s and 70s, and many of them need help in renovating their buildings to help keep their rents low. so that we can keep our affordable housing that we already have. So that's really cool. The other thing with the wastewater, just again, to piggyback off of Rachel, I think we're still doing, Kevin's left, but we're still working on the I&I for our residential properties. And I know people might be a little upset if they find that theirs needs to be replaced, but this is one thing that helps keep our wastewater fees lower. They're going to go up, but they're a little bit lower, because if we can't get a hold of the I&I situation in our city, the public pipes have already, a lot of them have already been taken care of. Now we're focusing on residential. If cities aren't able to do that, they may be forced to build a new or expand on the wastewater treatment plant that they already have, which will be much more expensive than what it is now if we can manage to get all those I&I issues. And I&I is when water, and clear water, rainwater infiltrates your storm sewer pipes, goes into the wastewater management, and so they're paying, they have to process that too, and so it brings the prices up. So I know people might be upset, but it is very, very important that we help with that. The next item I want to speak about, it came up in the newspaper where I believe I was misquoted about me saying I don't want a grocery store in Columbia Heights. That is not, it was taken out of context. I want people to know it's not that I don't want a grocery store. Aladdis, who's bought the Rainbow site, has been looking for almost 4 years plus for a grocery store to come into our community. They've talked to every business grocery store in the state of Minnesota, and we have not been fortunate enough to nail anyone or have anyone come into our city. So my comment was, I do not, at this point, after 4 years, because that's part of the reason it took us so long, or is taking us so long, at least for the first 2 or 3 years, is that we were looking for a grocery store, is I believe that I do not want a grocery store to hold us back from redeveloping that site in a more timely manner. We could wait years with the way the markets change with grocery businesses, and I think it's really important. This is too important of a development to hold it up for that. So that was what I meant if I misspoke, but also I might have been misquoted. So I want to bring that forward because several people have come and talked to me about it already. So just want to put it on record. Continuing to work in the Blooming Sunshine Garden. Most of the annual veggies are planted, and this year we decided we're not going to plant deer food, so you will not find tomatoes or peas or green beans or squash. We planted all the foods that deer don't like. So we have, there'll be other sources for that later. Attended the Park and Rec Commission. They are finalizing the park passport. Attended the alley public hearing for our next 6 alleys that are going to be reconstructed this summer, so that's pretty exciting. Some of those are in really bad shape. And then yesterday, I attended the Eid picnic for a group of kids, and that play soccer with their leader Gaid. And I announced what the council had voted on, that we approved the construction of soccer fields in our city, and told them that, make sure they keep an eye out for all the community, and for those folks out there too. There'll be community meetings to get input from the community as far as where it's going to go, how many soccer fields, what sizes, all that kind of stuff. And the one thing, so they were all very excited. They were super excited because they've been playing in different spots all over town for years. And Guy's been teaching, 70 plus kids a year soccer, so very excited about that. And then one very touching thing that I wanted to share with the council and the audience, I was in my car getting ready to leave, and my window was closed, and this kid, I think he was around 10 years old, walks up to my window and goes, "I want to talk to you." So I lowered the window, and he said, "Thank you for the soccer field." And it just was such a touching moment, and it meant so much to him and to me. It makes me teary-eyed, but it was very meaningful, and it was really cool. So he thanks us for the soccer field. So, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Hopefully we can get a soccer field before that little boy grows all the way up. And that is only because things take a while. That is not a dig to the city at all. It just takes a while to get a plan and do it with the right intention and make sure we have the right outreach. So we want to do things right. It sometimes takes a little while. Thank you, Councilmember Biskins. Councilmember Deneen.
Thank you, Mayor. I did want to echo what Councilmember Jameson Biskin said. Congrats to all of our Bush Fellows within the community and our mayor, of course. I also wanted to say that the search for Manny Collins is on all of our minds, and we are thinking about that family and that young man and hoping for his safe return and reunification with the family. And, you know, we can't imagine what that's like or what they're going through. My other report activities, on May 29th, I visited with Mr. Herber's civics class at I can't speak today, Columbia Heights High School. It was a really exciting opportunity to talk to students about public life and local politics that influence their lives every day. We also talked a bit about the Youth Commission, and several kids were really excited about it. So I'm excited to get some more commissioners here soon. On June 2nd, I attended the EDA meeting and council work sessions with other council members have already gone into, so I won't rehash. On the 3rd, I acted as council liaison for our city planning commission. On June 5th, I attended the alley construction meeting at City Hall for those residents whose alleyways are going to be undergoing construction here this summer and into the fall. Our city staff, led by Public Works Director Kevin Hansen, did a wonderful job explaining the timing and answering questions for all the residents of the neighborhood who are going to be impacted for roughly 40 days. On June 6th, I attended the Business Council meeting at City Hall, where we heard a presentation from the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association. And then I also this weekend got out to enjoy some of the garage sales. It was interesting to see what everybody had and see people meeting and getting to know each other through the sales. So that was fun. And that's all for me right now.
Thank you. Well, thank you everyone for your kind words about receiving the Bush Fellowship. It is a major honor. This year, 980 people applied for it. And there were 81 semifinalists was announced in January. And then, yes, I found out that I was one of the 29 recipients. So, yeah, a big, big honor for me to invest in my leadership. And the main thing being that as a leader, how do you sustain your leadership and not burn out, not get so, you get so invested in your community. I think when you're in public office, as Councilmember Biskins just said, she was just driving her car and somebody recognized her and wanted to talk to her through her window. So I think I can speak for the council that we all love being out about in our communities and we love running into people here. And at the same time, it does pull on us. For instance, there's really wonderful stories like Connie Biskins just shared. Also, I had a community member reach out to me to share. She's a senior citizen. I met her at the senior in a painting class, and she called to let me know that her son had passed away. And so those are the ways that we really connect with our community, that even members just want to let us know because they know it'll be important to us to hear where their families are at and stuff. So we're very invested in our community, and sometimes that can be a lot. So thank you. The Bush Fellowship will be one of those ways that I can see how I can continue to move forward and keep having our community be part of that. Over the past 2 weeks, I've had the honor of representing Columbia Heights at many things and conversations. On May 29th, I served as an MC for the Mediation Restorative Services Second Annual Summit. This is an organization that one of our police officers is on the board at the Mediation Restorative Services, and our police chief used to be a board member. But really, our police department reaches out with the mediation and restorative services to just kind of help themselves with learning how to dig into their values more, but then also learning a lot of techniques about mediation. So it was a real powerful conference, really shows people about listening, showing care for others, withholding judgment, especially I think with our police department. Those are great skills to have. I was out of town visiting family, dealing with a lot of health issues with my family. So unfortunately I missed the last council work session, but I do want to thank Council President Rachel James for running the meeting and stepping in my absence. So thank you for leading. But I did submit my comments and questions in advance. but I really appreciate the continued collaboration of our council and appreciate the support of the council to, of course, support me in making time for my family and understanding the importance of that. And of course, that means sometimes we miss our council responsibilities too, but we just always are talking with the city manager, so we're very much in good conversation. On June 2nd, with Councilmember James, I met with the school board, our police, about our student outreach officer and how our contract is evolving and where we want it to go. So that's been an ongoing conversation. I think it'll always be a living document that we're making sure we respond to our schools and students and community in the best way possible. I attended our monthly Operation Pollination meeting where we share updates on the school garden, our Blooming Sunshine Garden at Womianke Park, and then brainstorming other volunteer ideas to support pollinator habitats in Columbia Heights. I joined our final planning session for our upcoming Peace Breakfast, and I'm just one of the volunteers on it, but it is at Merchant Hall tomorrow at 7:30 in the morning. For breakfast, the breakfast is going to be catered by Fixed Coffee. Seats are $20 a person. There's still a few seats left, so if you just want to come in and grab a seat, you're welcome to do that. And then all of the profits are going to Missions, Inc., which is a supportive housing location that's here in Columbia Heights and across the region. I attended the library board meeting last week where commissioners received updated training materials on how to respond if a public meeting is disrupted. And I just want to share how grateful I am to our volunteer commissioners and board members for helping shape our city's success. I volunteered with the Every Meal program, delivering food to students at Valley View Elementary. And thank you to all who help support addressing food insecurity in our schools. And I know Councilmember Deneen also volunteers in that program as well, but this is our last one of the school year. Excited for our children and students to move into summer. Met with the city manager for our regular weekly check-ins to stay updated on city operations. Today I attended the Regional Council of Mayors meeting where we heard from Conservation Minnesota, the Minneapolis Foundation, Minneapolis Downtown Council, and the Attorney General's office. And the focus was about 2025 being declared the Year of Water, which I heard other council members talk about. So really highlighting the importance of protecting our water quality in our homes, our lakes, rivers, and streams. And we definitely play a role in sharing this responsibility. But it was interesting for me to be at that meeting for lunch today and then hear both of you have different stories about how water is impacting us. But with the amount of money that Councilor Bisgins was talking about with needing to have another plant, I mean, there are communities that are in Minnesota that are really struggling and they don't have the best water. It's going to cost $400 million just to redo their water. I mean, it's astounding, and we just cannot take water for granted. So it was interesting that we are all talking about this because it's that important. I also made a note to bring up Councilor Bisgins being misquoted in the newspaper because I've received phone calls as well, and I have very much set that very clear to people, and they have said right away, okay, thank you, because I was surprised. I didn't think she would say she didn't want. So what Connie Bisgins has said is she would love a grocery store, but let's get busy moving forward with this location. So I have definitely cleared the air on that. And then the last thing I want to share, which also along with the rest of the council, just letting people know that I have had multiple conversations with our police chief regarding the ongoing search for Manny Collins. And it's been going, people have said kind of like, why wasn't it discussed earlier? This has been worked on since the beginning, and there's just a lot of details to be sensitive about with the family, and that's the most important. So as the public, if you feel like you didn't hear something the first day, there's maybe a reason for that. But our police chief, the county sheriff, everyone has been very, very invested in communicating and searching for Manny, who is a 16-year-old boy, has been missing for over a month. But my heart goes out to Manny's family during this really terrifying and painful time. And I'm just grateful to our officers and staff were working overtime to find answers. So that is all I have to share, but I'll take it over to our city manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. Just a few updates on some events. So the annual Art and Info Fair is next Wednesday, June 18th from 4 to 7 p.m. at Huset Park West near the splash pad. Highlights of the event, there'll be 40 plus informational booths, 10 plus arts and crafts vendors. There'll be free tacos from Tacos Los Primos while supplies last. That part of the event is sponsored by Magnify Financial. And there'll be a Raptor Center presentation at 5 p.m. The passing of a former Columbia Heights police officer is worth mentioning. The city's deeply saddened to hear and announce the passing of former Officer Mike McGee. He passed away on May 22nd, 2025. Officer McGee served the Columbia Heights community for over 30 years. 1977 to 2007 in various roles, including investigations, school resource officer, and street patrol. Reminder that city offices will be closed on June 19th in observance of Juneteenth. And then finally, just another reminder of the EAW, the environmental worksheet related to the Medtronic site. There's a public comment period open, so get in contact with the city's community development department if you'd like to know more, but the EAW is a document that evaluates the potential environmental impacts of that proposed project. It's required by Minnesota environmental regulation, and it's designed to inform decision makers and gather public input before the final project approvals are granted. And I was notified by the city's communications and engagement coordinator, Will Rotler, that we do in fact have a website or web page dedicated to the Sullivan Lake Park redevelopment plans. It doesn't include the artwork, but if you search fitness court at the city's website, you will be taken to that web page that it, has a description of what's going on, plan changes, and a timeline. So, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for sharing that, and I appreciate that staff are involved in the meetings in real time and can get us information like that. So I appreciate the update on the website. And the website is always in flux, so there are things that are always changing, and we respond as best we can to having updates on the website. But if something's missing, I have always found staff is amicable to get it up as soon as possible. Any other comments from the council? All right, well then, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I feel like this was a really robust, amazing meeting, actually. We've touched on so many important things in our city. All right, if there's nothing else, I might have a motion then to adjourn. The community forum is at the beginning of the meeting. When did that change? In January. Sorry about that. Yeah. If you'd like to leave a note, though, we can contact you. But the next meeting will be in 2 weeks then.
Well, I would just like to ask a couple questions. Would you be able to entertain them?
Not during the meeting, but the city manager and I could talk to you at the end of the meeting. All right, thank you. Can I have a motion then to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Deneen and a second by Councilmember Bisgins to adjourn the meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And the meeting is adjourned. Thank you and good night.